Hi. So have you ever had a time when you had a communication that did not go as planned? Probably things went sour, things didn't go well, and you probably look back at such a moment and think, I wish I could have done it differently. I wish we could have done it differently. Or perhaps you think, I would like to be able to do it differently in the future. Okay, today I'll be sharing with you a communication tool that facilitates the communication process. The Imago dialogue has a sender, a speaker, and a receiver, a listener. So that's the basic ground rule for this communication tool, that there is one person talking at a time. This communication tool is specifically made for couples, but it can be used for premarital counseling. It can be used for communication with other people. Essentially, the knowledge and the information that you can get are communication tips that you can use in any area of your life. I'm going to share with you the general tips for the sender and then the general tips for the receiver, and then I'll explain the process of how you take turns. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to show you I'm going to give you the website where you can go so you can get the notes and you can have some things to print off, so you can have something on hand for when you're going through the process. Okay, here are the tips for the sender. So sender instructions. So the first thing is that you choose one topic. There might be so many issues at hand. Things might be complicated, but it's advised that you choose one topic to tackle at a time. And if it's important to you, decide who is going to be initiating the process, or you like at that time, who will initiate. Hey, it's time for us to talk. It's that time that we had talked about. But if your partner is not comfortable leading or comfortable with such talks, please be willing to lead. It's just recommended that either person takes the initiative to lead the conversation process or to bring together the appointment time. So the first step would be to make an appointment. From the website where I read this, there is a statement I'm going to read to you. They say, in a conscious marriage, all issues are discussed by appointment only. It's very important because things can get so touchy, but it's good to make sure that it's an agreed time. So essentially, the sender would say, is this a good time to talk about such and such an issue? Or when would be a good time to talk about such and such an issue? And the other person may say, sure, right now is fine. Or how about this such and such a time? And it's recommended that you make a time within 24 hours. The next thing to note about time is that sometimes people have something that they call their prime time. It's a time that would be just better for them. Some people are better in the mornings, some people are better in the evenings. Just figure out, especially if the topic is touchy or could be emotionally charged, do your best to schedule a time that allows for your best success for both parties. The next thing to note also about time is if you're already emotionally high. Say for example, I have a chart here where they show the emotions of when people get upset. It's like a thermometer, okay? So it goes from annoyed, grumpy, frustrated, angry, and furious. If you are in a state where you are so emotionally charged and you are in the furious state or very, very angry, it would not be a good time to start sitting down to have a discussion. It would be better to let things calm down, and so you can be able to have a more thoughtful communication process. The next point for the sender is that the sender is supposed to make a statement of intentionality. Basically, this is a positive statement that makes your partner comfortable and safe, that you're doing this that you mean well in the process. So say, for example, you can say, I really would like this to be a win-win discussion, or I would like you to know that I bring this up because I care about our relationship. Something like that, where they know, okay, you really mean well. You're not just doing this to tear, to make things worse, or, are you doing this to threaten, anything like that. It should be like peaceful and hopefully a comfortable starting point. The next point for the sender is that you should practice pausing. Even though you might have a lot of things to express, it's very important that you're pausing and letting your partner respond. And so this is very good because it makes you take turns and the receiver will need to be mirroring the things you're saying. I'll explain later where they respond to what you're saying. So it makes it so much easier for them to mirror when you're saying only a brief statement at a time or just a few sentences. Just make it brief so that they can be able to mirror and respond better. Mirroring is where your partner essentially repeats what they are hearing you say. And if they are not mirroring you correctly, it's recommended that you can repeat or tell them again in a non-demanding or non-demeaning manner. The next point for the sender is to stay focused. You're going to stay on topic, avoid rambling, going off tangents. You're just going to stay focused on the topic that you brought to the table. The next point for the sender is to use I statements. So essentially you're saying, I feel this, or I really need this. You're saying things, what's not okay is, I think you are like this. You're not saying things about your partner. You will be just saying how you feel or what you desire. That's what they mean here when they say use I statements instead of you statements. It is advised that you select your words carefully so that you avoid labeling or blaming. Basically, it's not recommended that you use words like, you always do this, you never do this, things like that. That can be very inflammatory and hurtful. The next point for the sender is that you're supposed to actively reinforce positive behaviors, saying things like, thank you so much for mirroring that. Oh, thanks for listening. Thanks for understanding. I appreciate your feedback. You notice the effort being made by your partner or the person you're communicating with. They are making the effort to communicate with you on whatever you're sending. And the last tip for the sender is at the end of the discussion, you thank your partner for listening, and you could ask them if they would like a chance to be also a sender, if they have something to send. And at this point, they might say, yes, I have something to send, and then you move on to being the receiver and they become the sender. Now, sometimes if it's a completely new dialogue that they want to start over, it's recommended that they make the appointment. Would this be okay for us to do this? And it might be, sure, let's do it. Or why don't we take a 20-minute break and come back to it? Or how about tomorrow? Within 24 hours, you can set up another time to continue. But essentially, you're thanking them for listening to your side of things, and then offering them an opportunity to speak and speak their part as well, and then you can move on to being a listener. All right, here are the instructions for the receiver. So for the receiver, point number 1 is that you listen. You're supposed to listen without interrupting. You're supposed to listen and mirror back. So if you feel like the sender is saying too much and you're thinking that's getting to be a lot, you can politely ask them to pause so that you can mirror back what they're saying. Next point for the receiver is that you mirror. So a mirroring statement is essentially like a mirror, okay? So you're saying, what I'm hearing you say is, or what I heard you say is, and then you say it. And then you say, did I get you? And they might say, yeah. And then if they say yes, then you can say, okay, is there more? Or tell me more, something like that. And then they can go on. Or you can, if you say, did I get you? And they say, that's close, but not quite, and then they can go back and tell you exactly what they were saying. And then you mirror back. You're mirroring back until they say, yes, you got me. And then once you tell them, is there more? You keep asking them and they keep adding to it. And until they say, that's it, that's all I wanted that's all I wanted to say about that topic. And then once you get to that point, you summarize. You're supposed to summarize. If I got it all, this is what you're saying. Or I think the gist of where this is, these issues, I think the gist of what you're saying is, so you summarize it and then say, did I get it all? Did I get you? Is that essentially, pretty much what you're saying here? And if they say yes, if not, then you go back again and listen to them until they are done. And then after that, you go to validation. Validation is not necessarily, you don't have to agree with what they're saying, but validation is saying you make sense. It makes sense that you would feel that way because I can see I can see why this would be concerning to you. You're validating them, even though it might not be agreeable to you necessarily, but you're choosing to see things from their perspective and just saying they make sense. I can see how you could be thinking that way. I can certainly see why this could be frustrating for you. And that is what validation is. All right. The next step for the sender is to empathize. So this is where you're understanding the other person's emotions, and you would be saying things like, I can imagine you might be feeling something, an emotion. Angry, hurt, scared, frustrated. I can imagine you might be feeling frustrated because I suppose this has been going on for a while. Oh, I can imagine you might be feeling really hurt because something. And so you're empathizing with the feeling that is being shared. To finish out, the sender is supposed to ask you, would you like to have a chance to respond or to send something? And that would be your chance to now take the turn of being a sender, and they become the receiver. If the sender doesn't give you that chance, you can politely ask them and say, oh, by the way, I would also like to be a sender to say something about this, and then you can take that turn. But make sure that you're being polite in the process. So for the general process, this is how it would play out. The sender makes an appointment, you set a time, the sender, one of you initiates the process by calling and saying, oh, it's that time. And then once you get to sitting down, the sender shares their feelings, the receiver mirrors back and keeps asking, is there more, until everything is shared. And then the receiver validates the sender, and then the receiver also empathizes with the sender, and then in the end you thank each other, and the sender gives a chance to the receiver to have a chance to be the sender, either for the same topic or for a different topic, or you can schedule a different time. There is a PDF. I'm just gonna lift this and just show you. There is a whole chart showing instructions for the sender and the receiver. But before I tell you the website information and all that, I just want to let you know that I make these kind of videos because I would like for you to succeed, but it is impossible to succeed optimally in the absence of a relationship with your Creator. So I invite you to invite Jesus Christ to be the Lord and Savior of your life. I have a video about that in the description box below. It's titled How to Get Eternal Life, and I hope you are able to take care of that part of your life so that you can then go on to succeed in every other area of your life. Also, before I proceed, I would like to thank you so much for watching, and please do make sure to give this video a like. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Share it with your friends and family. If you know any marriage therapists, any counselors, make sure to share this video with them so that they can be able to help other people, and so that people can also succeed, and we can all succeed together. And hopefully, as I said about our relationship with our Maker, hopefully we can not only succeed in this life, but that we can keep our success, because then when this one ends, we can go on to eternity. I hope you really take care of that part so that we can all truly, truly succeed and keep our success forever. All the information about everything I shared today is found in imagoworks.com. I'm gonna leave the link to that website in the description box below also, so you can just go straight to the link. On the website, you'll find pretty much the notes of the things that I shared with you here today. They also have like a PDF printout flow chart for the sender and receiver. So it will have instructions and a step-by-step what you should be doing. So if you can print it, that would be a big blessing to have that on hand and in front of you when you're going through these discussions. Also, when you go to the website, they have 20 appreciative dialogues. Those are like beginner dialogues. So instead of going into this dialogue process and trying to learn the process while tackling the tough issues of life, it's recommended that you have 20 practice topics, and these topics are fun, happy discussions. So one of them is something I appreciate about you is, so that is a topic, and that is like, so the sender would essentially be sending that compliment. Something I appreciate about you is something such and such and such. You're supposed to do the 20 happy dialogues just to practice the dialogue process. So that's why this is actually really good for people who are dating or doing premarital counseling, because then you can have a chance to just practice it out and know how to roll with it. So that when a challenging time comes, it's so much better when you have already practiced and you know the steps that you wanna take through for communication. For things to go so much better when you need to listen to each other, especially for sensitive discussions. I hope this information helps. Please don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe. Sharing this on all your social media platforms. Share it with your families. Share it with your friends. Share it with your church communities. People who are helping people, therapists and counselors, people who are helping people with premarital counseling and any kind of counseling. Just share this information with them so that they can be able to help other people. And I appreciate you for watching again. Until next time, bye for now.